Welcome to Midlife Matters. I'm Marie, and each week I'm joined by my friends Julie and Mindy to talk about all the topics keeping women in the middle years up at night. Today we're talking about fitness in midlife. Join us as we share our experiences as well as answer a listener question. Let's get started. Listeners, today we are talking about fitness in midlife. And I know that we've talked about this a few different times, but we got a listener question and we're going to talk about that today. Her question was, how about fitness in midlife? I try so hard to stay active with walking daily and attending a strength training class at the Y twice a week. But then I will try to add a little jogging or increase my weights a tiny bit and bam, I hurt my lower back and have to rest for a week. I'm only 59 and I'm not overweight, but I work at a desk full time and I don't want my body to wither away. I'd love to hear you talk about this. You know, she has a decent fitness routine. She tries to mix it up just a little bit and boom, she's out with an injury. And I'm sure that many people can relate to that. Can you guys picture that, Julie and Mindy? Has this happened to you?
Yeah. And I talked on here about myself, going through that unexpected injury and really just not even being able to walk for 8 to 10 weeks. And I teach classes. I was like, this isn't supposed to happen to me. I'm supposed to be like a poster child, how to age well. I'm like, no, I'm in the same boat with everybody else who comes to class and is talking about, oh, my shoulder this or my knee that or my ankle this, So I just realized very aware that everybody is struggling with this.
Right.
I know that in some ways I related and in some ways I didn't because I feel like, okay, I think I've done the exact same thing for the last 12 years now,
Oh.
not varied it, but I know my trainer varies it. So I'm just not in charge of the escalation of the weights and the routine.
Mm-hmm.
But I know I'll say, oh, I really don't want to pick up that heavy bar. That really hurts my back. Or, I work out with a friend and, one of us is always saying, this really bothers my right arm. And so she'll tweak it and say, okay, let's don't do that. Let's do this. So, yeah. So seems like something's always hurting.
Yeah.
And it moves around and it changes.
It does. They take turns.
Yeah.
When she said, I adjust my weight a tiny bit. So they're always telling you to go up in weight or try something more, or you'll be scrolling through Instagram. It'll be like, these 5 exercises are what you need to do for toned arms or whatever. So you're like, okay, I'm a little bored. I'll try this today. And then not inevitably, but often I've found myself with a bit of an injury. I mean, I can remember over Christmas break, I don't know what I did differently, but I hurt my lower back lifting weights and I only lift them in my house. It's not even like I'm lifting them in a gym and I, had this big bar and needed to be spotted. But I can remember watching movies with my girls over Christmas break, and I was laying on the floor. They'd be like, why don't you sit up here on the couch? No, I can't. I've got to lay here on the floor, and I've got to stretch, and I've got to move in all these weird positions because I'm just trying to get this nagging pain to leave my back. And then you'll wake up a few days later and it will have gone, but you don't know really what you did or how to avoid it the next time because it seemingly came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think, I did have a fall back in October where I know what happened. It was a fall on a slippery rock. But a lot of the times I can kind of go back to, I think I hurt my back when I was making the bed. Like bending over and trying to fluff the quilt in the wrong position, like putting weight when you're bent over and just silly things like that.
It is. It's leaning into the washer. It's picking up a piece of paper. I mean, it literally, sometimes you're working out and feel great. You take a nap and hurt yourself because of the way the pillow was situated. So
Exactly.
we are all literally trying to do our best and all dealing with this.
Right. So when we received this question, I said, thank you for the idea. That's a Mindy topic, and I will share it with her. So you came up with some questions to lead us through this episode, and I appreciate that. And so when you heard this question, where did your mind go?
Well, my mind went to health in general, and that everything that is healthy related is connected. What we eat, how we sleep, our activity level, working out. And I thought a lot about injury prevention with working out. And then I also thought about how this topic really does relate with pretty much everybody I know. They're all dealing with it, and it was more of a what can we do? Maybe some things to watch out for. Some common things, maybe common mistakes that people might make, but more just an encouragement. And I hope that that's how this podcast leaves our listeners, is just feeling encouraged. You're not alone, but every day is hard. So you've heard it said before, choose your hard. And I would rather continue to try to work out and move and be active than sit down and waste away.
Mhm.
So I feel like we just have to keep trying. Like it's if you hear anything, I hope you hear that health is in your recovery. So whatever that looks like, it's how you recover is how healthy you are.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's really what went through my mind.
My mind always goes back to that. It's this phrase I hear on a TV commercial: a body in motion stays in motion. And in other words, you don't just say at 70, I'm going to start doing this. And, I mean, I guess you could, but it would be easier just to keep doing it and
Keep
not
going.
stopping doing it.
Mhm.
And Mindy, I really do think about injury prevention way more than I used to.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
I have this lawnmower that I was going to take in to get the blade sharpened. Well, it's a plastic lawnmower that's battery operated. It's not that heavy. And I tried picking it up and my back just kind of got sore. So when I
Mm.
got to the store, I told the people, I'm not picking this up. Like, can you come out and get it? I
Mhm.
used to just be willing to do things because I can, but I'm like
Right.
more protective. Like, no, I'm not doing that. If
Right.
somebody else can lift that lawnmower, then I'm not doing that because I
Yeah.
don't
Which is
want to be
smart.
suffering the
Good
next
job.
day.
Literally asking for help. That's one of my things. Be willing to ask for
Oh,
help.
but I hate that.
I know.
So, what are you doing to keep your physical body healthy right now? Because maybe at the end we can talk a little bit about our mental or other things like that. But what are you doing to keep your physical body healthy right now? I feel like I'm going for my annual physical today. And I know that they will ask me, how many times a week do you exercise? And then they'll follow it up by saying, what do you like to do to exercise? If someone asked you that, what would you say?
If my doctor asked me that, I would say I walk every day, thanks to my dog.
Uh huh.
That keeps me consistent. I do lift weights and stretch. And with my trainer, she's really focused on working on balance because she said as you age, your balance tends to go. And then just I've thought about practical ways that I put this in to practice is like I always take the stairs at an airport, a hotel, like at that conference I was at last week or last weekend. Took the stairs in this convention center. I noticed, there's these escalators. I was about the only one on the stairs, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
And, on our cruise, the walking track was on the 15th floor. The dining hall was on the 3rd. We were on the 8th, and we only took the stairs. And there were other
Wow.
people on the stairs, but I think I used the elevator once or twice, with some luggage.
Great job, Julie.
But I don't know, I've just kinda made a commitment to do that. And, like when I'm going to a store, quit driving around looking for the closest spot. Just park out.
Mhm.
Like, I can walk. Why am I trying to find the closest spot when I can just
Mhm.
park out and get
Mhm.
in the store? I try to walk to get my mail, because I don't have a mailbox. I have to walk down to this park to get my mail, and I could easily just drive by when I'm coming back home, but I make a point to walk. So, I think just trying to find ways when you don't live in a walkable city, you have to find ways to get more steps in. So, I try to get my steps in every day.
Mhm.
Mhm. Let's see, what am I doing? Well, I would probably say pickleball. So I feel like that's one of those a body in motion stays in motion
Mhm.
types of activities. Like over time, that has to build up, even if you consider just one session might not be super strenuous, but if over time you're doing it on a regular basis, I feel like it probably
Mhm.
does help keep you in shape. I walk every day because my dog needs a good long walk. So every single morning I'm out there for 45 minutes and really another time during the day it'll be like 20 minutes. So she probably gives me 45 to an hour worth of walk every day. And it's really kind of a non-negotiable. I don't sit there and think, is it a walk day? Like I do with my weights. With my weights, I'm like, oh, is it a weight day? Could I get away with maybe doing it tomorrow. It's like planning for my hair washing. Well, if I do it
Mm,
today,
mhm.
then maybe I could skip it's like that's how I think about weights. Oh my goodness, please don't make me lift them. But I do make myself do it. And you get like these little compliments from your kids sometimes because I was standing in the kitchen the other night and I don't think that many people that actually know me in real life would say this, but my daughter Lauren goes, "Mom, your arms look jacked." And I was like,
Oh,
"Oh, well, this is motivation for me to lift weights for the
yes.
next 2 weeks at least."
Great job, Marie. True
Because I
story.
live off words of affirmation and I just got
Yes.
some.
Especially from your kid, like, that's awesome.
And then I would just say that I'm just generally a mover. Like I don't like to
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
be stationary for a long time. Like if I'm cleaning the house, it's up and down and going to another room and I'm always moving or spending time with grandchildren. I feel like is also a very active thing. Like I go to my daughter's one whole day every week and I don't just sit on the couch. Like the kids want to do things. Picking up babies one of my worst injuries in the last few years, and I feel bad about it, but I wonder how many people can relate. So my daughter left for a couple days and we were watching her like 5-month-old. And I thought, no problem. What does he probably weigh? Like 15, 18 pounds? Luckily, my girls were home from college. It was like over Christmas break. I don't know what I did. I don't know what it was about that 18 pounds. When you fed him the bottle, he didn't really like to take it when you were sitting in the chair. So you had to walk and bounce and kind of like work to get it in him. And then also, he wasn't sleeping the best because it was a new environment. So I would walk him around a lot. And I don't know what it was, but it just killed my lower back. And one morning, like Lauren came out, she's like, "Mom, why are you laying on the floor?" I'm like, "Lauren, you have got to feed Briggs. Like, I can't do it. Like, I could sit in a chair and feed him, but he wouldn't eat. Like, you've got to be the one that walks around and feeds him."
Right.
And I felt like such a wimp. I know my kids were probably thinking, like, she plays pickleball, she lifts weights, she does this. But there was something about that holding 18 pounds in front of me and bouncing and like walking with it that just was different than I normally do. And so when I read this listener question, it was like, yeah, if you asked me to lift 18 pounds like over my head
Mhm.
and do,
Right.
chest presses or, whatever, I could, bicep curls. But for some reason, that holding it in front of me, walking and bouncing, it really tweaked something. Mindy, you're nodding your head. Have you heard stories like this before?
Well, it's really hard, and I think that, when you have carried babies, and I think you're already damaged. Like, I really feel like, and I'm not saying this, I know it's funny, and I've teased my children, I have 4 bad discs, and they're each named my child's name, and it's true. Like, I loved having them. Pregnancy is really hard on your body, and I believe that damage happened from all of the weight that was pulling on the discs of my back, and so I feel like now the arthritis that's set in, the disc that's gone, the 2 that are bulging, when I I got stories for each of these. I just think that, our bodies have been through a lot and aging is also happening. And so understanding what you have done in the past, it does play a part in your future. And so as grateful as I am and I wouldn't change a thing, I'm very aware of the damage that happened in my spine. And so
Mhm.
that motion though is hard to support. Like of course if you sat down with Briggs you would be fine, but it's really hard to hold that kind of weight. Like, you don't take weights, like, that's not a workout motion that you work
Right.
on, you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just hard on your body.
I've noticed too, picking a baby up, the cribs are so low, we let our babies sleep up high
Mm,
and they're almost on the floor. And that's when I hurt my back was almost bending over to the floor and picking up 18
r
pounds.
right,
Mm.
right.
Mhm.
I have a friend, she was keeping her grandchildren and broke a rib because she was shorter. And when she bent over the crib railing, I guess repeatedly, she broke a rib.
Oh my people are getting injured watching their
With their
grandchildren.
grandchildren. This is an episode all by itself, it sounds like. Training your body for grandchildren.
Well, that my trainer says that all the time. She, when I'm complaining that we're doing a burpee or I'm on the ground so much, she goes, "This is why, this is why we're doing this because you want to be able to get down on the ground and get up."
That's
Right.
right.
Yeah, and I think, like, mentally, we still feel exactly like we did. So, like, I had twins for my last pregnancy. I carried around 2 babies,
Right.
soothing them, bouncing them around the kitchen during the witching hour, like, all the things, and I never had back problems. I'm sure I
Right.
probably did at the
Mhm.
end of my pregnancy, but, like, I don't remember, like, ever throwing my back out with them and saying, "Steve, you've gotta be the one to feed them. I cannot lift them up." Like, I don't remember that. But for some reason, like, mentally, I think I'm still that age, and you're right, Mindy, there are, like, unseen scars on our bodies that when they're asked to redo that motion, they're like, "No, we did it once, and now we're gonna complain about it. We're gonna let you know that we're older now."
And it
I
took a
know.
toll.
Well, and a common mistake is that I made myself is that I thought if my core were just strong enough, I thought if I was constantly, moving every direction and working things out, I'm really kind to my body. And I will answer that question of what I do now to stay in shape and have a healthy lifestyle. But I really thought that if I had a strong core, it would solve all of my problems. And it didn't.
Mm,
Like, you cannot support a bad spine with a strong core if it's damaged. Like,
mm,
you have to be very careful. And so, there's no muscle group strong enough to put together a broken, disc, a
right,
a
right.
bulging disc.
Right.
I mean, it's there. So I think understanding that our bodies are aging, understanding that our bodies have damage, and then what do you do? And so
Mhm,
what I do, I've been able to come back from that injury, but I walk a lot. I love that you guys said that. I think walking is sometimes overlooked as like fluff. It's not fluff. It is literally so important to walk. Think of walking as a dynamic stretch. And so dynamic stretching is moving as you're stretching. It's not a static stretch where you dig deep and hold. Dynamic stretching is one of the best ways that I stay healthy and moving. And so I walk a lot. And honestly, that helps mental, spiritual, and physical. It hits all 3,
Mhm.
especially like I'm not trying to go any sort of race pace, when I'm walking. Sometimes I feel energetic and sometimes I don't. I really try to listen to my body. Depending on where I'm at in my cycle, I'm going to have more energy or not. So, I'm walking, I'm talking to the Lord, I'm praying, I'm praising. Like, that's where I do my fighting. I battle in prayer. I get my mind right and literally put my armor on. I go through the armor of God and I put it on.
mhm, mhm.
I teach a class twice a week. And so twice a week, this helps me do the weights, Marie, because if I were not teaching, I wouldn't do it. So this keeps me accountable. And I love to go and we use a set of like 8-pound dumbbells and a set of 3-pound dumbbells. We'll do some longer sets with the lightweight. We'll do shorter sets with the heavier weight. I love body resistance work, lots of balance. Julie, I love hearing that you're working on balance. It's so key. And I make sure we move all directions. And I think that
Mhm.
if you think about that, try to make sure you're moving all directions. That will help try to get a full body workout. Our core goes away so fast. Literally working on plank work or core work, trying to stay strong in our core. It doesn't fix everything, like I said, but it moves everything else. You have to use it to lift the weights. You have to use it to squat. You have to use it to do everything. When you're doing laundry or making your bed, think about like get into kind of a squat.
Mhm.
You can, like hold your core, keep it tight, and then move with the core. And that literally should be, it's called the powerhouse of the body for a reason. It powers everything that you do. So I walk every day, morning and night, if I can also get out at night. I do weight resistance work twice a week. And then once or twice a week, I do a class called PIO. It's a Pilates yoga fusion class, and it's actually a pretty intense cardio. Like you're moving through planks to up to stretching to it's actually it works everything out that I do the rest of the week, and
That
it's
sounds
one of
like a
my
great one,
favorite
Mindy.
classes. It is an amazing class, but some sort of Pilates or yoga in there to stretch everything back out. And then I stretch all the time. If I told you how many times I did a sun salutation, if you're not sure what that is, you can look it up, but it's a full body stretch. I my back is stiff every day. I think about it every day and everything I do, and so I'm stretching all the time.
Mhm.
I notice what hurts me the worst is sitting on the couch.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
That's
Marie,
a
I
good
can
thing.
totally see it. I know, I know. I wanna sit down and watch a movie.
Mhm.
And so I will do that, but literally finding a position that doesn't put, pressure on my lower back is difficult still, even though I feel like I'm in shape.
Yeah. I wanna lay down and watch a movie. I don't wanna sit and watch a movie.
Yeah. I'm like, maybe I need a lazy boy, you know? Maybe I need
That's
because
why
the
they're
couch hurts
popular.
my back.
Yeah, I wanted to go to the movies last week, but the movie was not showing in a room that had those recliners. I'm like, "No, there's no movie that I wanna see if you don't have the recliner."
I
So,
feel
I'm
that
not
way.
going.
I'm like shifting. I'm like, I can't hardly
Yeah.
sit still if it's not a recliner chair.
Yes,
Thought it was my
yes.
ADHD, but it's
What are some common mistakes when trying to begin a healthier lifestyle? So this woman already is exercising, and so she's not like just starting from ground zero, but some people are starting from ground zero. I know somebody who was a little bit older and she decided to start going to a boot camp, just going from zero to nothing, and ended up with rotator cuff surgery from doing the push-ups after a couple times. I mean,
right.
that can be really hard on the shoulders
Mhm.
of somebody that has not been regularly working out. Like, you can do too much too soon.
Mhm. I mean, that's what I was thinking is, a lot of times you remember yourself, at 20. You remember yourself when you were
Mhm.
30, maybe 40, wherever you're
Yeah,
at, okay?
yeah.
But you remember how you got in shape before. And
Mhm.
so you think, "Okay, I'm gonna get in shape again." And, you go out there and you think, "I'm gonna start running."
Yeah.
Don't. Don't do that. You're gonna pull a hamstring, you're gonna hurt you're gonna hurt something or a lot
Right,
of somethings.
right.
But literally, you can't go back to the workout that you did when you were younger.
Mm-mm.
Everything has to shift and change. Just, think about your diet when you were a teenager. You probably eat very different than you did when
Mhm.
you were a teenager. It's the same with your body. You're the same person, but your body has changed. It needs to do different things. And if you can think about starting slower, building slower, it is crucial to have a warm up and a cool down. And so sometimes you can hurt yourself even stretching because
Mhm.
if your body's not warm enough, you're going to
Mhm.
stretch and pull something.
Mhm.
And so you think, all I was doing was stretching. I was just trying to reach my toes and I pulled my back out. Like that actually happens because you have to kind of move and get warm and really think about it. Called mind muscle connection. When you move, think about moving. Think about what you're moving and then be intentional. Like there's no way you can talk on the phone, cook dinner and do the laundry at the same time anymore. You just can't. Something's
No.
something's got to give because literally I'm reaching in the washer the other day too fast. I'm like, "Oh, like careful. Hello." My back said, "Hello." And I was like, "Oh, right. Thank you." I hear you, and I had to take it easy. So,
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
unfortunately, yeah, that too much too soon or trying to work out how you did when you were 20. Um, I liked Julie's just being willing to ask for help, understanding, what you can do, but also understanding maybe some limitations in a good way. This isn't to hold you back, but maybe just don't power through like you used to.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm actually living all of this out with my mom on from the other side, she had an injury, had some pelvic fractures, and so now she's at the point where she has, a physical therapist coming to the house, so I get to watch it all. And, she's told him what she'd like to be able to do. Like, I want to be able to get out of a chair without using my hands. She just wants to be able to stand up. And he goes, "Oh, that's a great goal." She said, "Do you think I will be able to do that?" And he said, "Absolutely, but here's some things we're going to do." And so she's doing all these exercises, and she'll tell me, "This can't be doing anything. These are too easy." Like she just, like doing a leg lift or whatever. She says she sees no purpose in that. And then after she does it, she's sore and needs to take some Tylenol. And I thought, that's because you haven't been using those muscles.
Mm,
You
Right.
are working those out and strengthening them. And I've seen a lot of improvement in her already. But I know because I'm wired just like this, kind of an all or none thinker. Like if I can't do it all, then nothing's helping. You know what I mean? I
mhm,
don't like to start in incremental things. Like she's sitting on a pillow to stand up right now. And she goes, "Well, I won't have a pillow with me always." Like, so she thinks that's
Mm,
not a valuable exercise. And I said, "Well, it is because you're building up and then we'll take the pillow out or we'll get a smaller pillow. Like
mhm.
you have to
yeah.
work up." But I get that thinking, like it just seems kind of futile when it's small things, but you just have to remember, start small, start slow, build up.
Mhm.
That's because we grew up in an era where you read, like, a magazine, like, 3 or 4 weeks before spring break started. It was like, "Get your body in shape for spring break. Here's 10 things." You tore out the magazine, you laid it on the floor, you did it, you went on your vacation, and you never thought about fitness again until the next spring. When you
Right.
saw an article, it was like, "Get in shape for spring break." And so we
Yeah.
just think that it's that quick, like, we're just gonna tear out our magazine, we're gonna jump in for 3 weeks, we'll be awesome, and then we don't have to give it another thought.
Yeah,
Well,
I know
that's
when
the
I started my fitness journey, it was for a very short-term goal. Molly was getting married, I wanted to look nicer and fit in my dress and all that. And when I met with my trainer, a friend had introduced me to her and she said, "Yeah, I've been with her about 6 years." And I thought, "Why are you why are you doing this for 6 years? Like,
Mhm.
didn't you reach your goal?" And I just
right.
didn't, because I had never worked out. I just was active, but I never did anything formal
Mhm.
exercise. I just played sports and,
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. And so now I get it. Now I'm going on 12 years with this trainer,
Mm,
and,
right.
it's not about reaching a goal, it's about maintaining the goal,
Right.
and the way you feel, all the health benefits.
I know so much of it. I mean, working out makes me feel better. Sweating makes me feel better. And I
Yeah.
remember a point in my life where I used to avoid sweating at all costs because I didn't want my hair to get messed up or my makeup to run.
Mm.
But now, I mean, seeing working out as not suffering until you hit a point, whether that be with food, that you suffer with your food until you lose the weight, like you're white knuckling it until you lose the weight, that's not sustainable. Well, working out to hit a goal and then stopping is not sustainable. So thinking lifestyle,
Mhm.
thinking we're trying to work out to feel better. And that's one of the things in my class that I try to teach is I want you to push yourself, but to the point where you feel good leaving and can go do your day. You shouldn't leave being so like worn out that you have to lay down and sleep the rest of the day.
Mhm.
Like understanding incremental. And honestly, the way we talk to ourselves is probably the biggest catalyst for a healthy lifestyle. Having a can do attitude, having a what can I do attitude versus, oh, I can't believe that I can't do that anymore. I cannot believe I used to be able to go out and run a 5K, 3 days a week. And now I have to walk. Like walking is so boring. I don't, there's just the way you talk to yourself about what you're doing makes all the
Mhm.
difference. And so, if you can celebrate progress, which we've talked about celebrating progress with every other part of our
Everything.
life, but literally be nice to yourself. Like, you wouldn't let somebody talk down to you as much as you talk down to yourself. And so being able to lay your head down on the pillow at night and recounting, wow, way to go. Like we did this today, we did this today, and we didn't hurt ourselves. And, let's get a good night's sleep. And let's also realize how important rest and recovery are. You can exercise and you can really go hard, maybe a few days a week. And sometimes having a slower walk, having some time to stretch, having some time to recover is just as important as the workout. And so realizing the importance of all of it together is the lifestyle. And so you're always kind of doing something. You're working, you're recovering, you're resting, you're stretching. You're always doing something.
Mhm. Well, what are some changes that you've had to make to optimize your health and well-being over the last 5 years? Like, basically, since you've been in midlife. I mean, I said that I like to play pickleball, and I only picked that up in, like, the last few years. So before that, I was pretty much just walking and lifting weights, and now I added in something else. Another thing that I've kinda changed is, Julie and another friend told me about the Bobby approved food app. And so I feel like cleaned up my diet quite a bit. I don't think I ever really had like a bad diet, but I've cleaned it up more. Also, I had a little bit of higher cholesterol, which I think is a lot hereditary, but my doctor said, why don't you just try to clean it up this year and we'll see how the numbers look next year. So that has kind of been different. I will say that you don't really ever know exactly what you should be doing in the area of food, though. Like it goes up and down because
Mhm.
I cleaned up my diet, I lowered my cholesterol for the next visit, and then my daughter that just graduated as a nurse earlier this year, she goes, "Mom, I'm really concerned that you are so concerned about your cholesterol. It's really good to have some cholesterol. Like, you need to be having cholesterol for your brain, for your this. You need to start adding some of that back in." And so then it's like, okay, but then if I add that back in, then my number might go up. But it's just so funny. Like, you never really know what to do. I guess what I
Right.
really try to remember in midlife that I don't know that I always remembered earlier in life is not to do all or nothing thinking, like, just do
Mhm.
Mhm.
moderation of everything. So moderation in the area of food, moderation in the area of exercise,
Mhm.
moderation is really the key for me because I can swing too far to the right or the left or up or down, and then
Mhm.
that's really not a healthy headspace for me.
Yeah, and they really have kinda changed the parameters for cholesterol, like, it's more about your ratio of HDL to your total, and so, yeah, like, all that is changing, 'cause I had a similar situation, and I was real worried about it, but she said, your ratio's good." I loved that she wasn't alarmed by it, like I
Mhm.
was.
Mhm.
And she goes, "Let's look at your risk factors, you really don't have it," like, she just put it in a bigger perspective and made me feel better about it. But one of the things that I kinda wanted to address that I have tried to make a change in probably in the last 2 years, and I don't think I've ever even mentioned it on this podcast or to you guys because it's kind of been, like, in a experimental phase with me.
Mhm.
But, and I wanted to address this because the listener said that she sat a lot at her job. And, you hear, like, "Sitting is the new smoking." I think that's a little bit extreme, but evidence is showing that, like, 10-minute walk after a walk 10 minutes after a meal really helps to lower and stabilize your blood glucose, and that is you hear a lot about that, like, trying to stabilize your blood glucose instead of having these big spikes and then drops, and, I read this book called Good Energy by Casey Means. Are you familiar with her? She's been on a ton of podcasts. She was a Stanford doctor, ENT surgeon, and she got tired of just doing all these surgeries on people that had diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure. She felt like that a lot of chronic diseases have the similar root cause. They just come out in different symptoms. And a lot of it
Mm.
was about your metabolism and all. And so it's a fascinating book, and I've tried to kind of adopt this philosophy for the last 2 years, and, she said, like, people that walk 7,000 steps a day have up to 70% less risk of, like, just all-cause mortality over a 10-year period, and she said it's really not about cardio fitness, it's more about, like, continuous blood glucose stabilization, like, when your muscles contract, she said even, like, a gentle walk, like you said, Mindy, it doesn't have to be this powerhouse speed walk, just a gentle walk after eating a meal pulls your glucose into your cells out of your bloodstream. And, you can even monitor this, like, you can get a continuous glucose monitor. Have a friend that did that, and she said, she just did it for, like, a month or 2 to see, like, it gives you a real visual of, like, "Okay, when I eat this, my blood glucose goes up." Or then if I walk, I notice it comes down. Like, I need those kind of pictures. So I actually wanna do
Right.
this at some point.
Mm.
And even, like, the order that you eat, she talks a lot about the order that you eat, like, if you eat your fats and your proteins first before your carbs, then it'll control the spike. So, that's a big change for me is kinda understanding more about metabolism and food, because my dad was diabetic, and so I just don't ever wanna get there. She doesn't
Mhm.
think I am close, but that just really is always a concern that I don't wanna ever get diabetes. So I think movement after meals and just getting up every 30 minutes throughout the day. Like, if you have to sit at a desk, like last year I did a lot of reading, and I just tried to get up frequently
Mhm.
from because I could have sat all day, 8 hours and just read,
Mhm.
um and, step counters can help with that or, like, little alarms like, "Hey, it's time to get up and move." I have a watch that'll tell me that, and it's just a good reminder that more continuous movement is better than, like, an hour of power walking. Like, spread out your steps throughout the day. Keep moving.
Mhm.
That's been a big change
Gosh,
for me.
Mhm.
I love all of this. Over the last 5 years, I've had to really actually have a lot more grace with myself, and that's something that I've had to learn some flexibility, that I didn't have to work so hard or try so hard, I guess. Not having so much fear where my health was concerned in terms of weight and exercise, because I've had a health journey. So I was living in a constant fear that I was going to go back to that unhealthy weight that I worked really hard 2 times to get
Mhm.
rid of. And I podcasted about that.
Mhm.
Well, I still have that mentality. I still remember my unhealthy self. And so I was kind of white knuckling my health. And even with intermittent fasting, I've been doing that over 5 years. But what I had to learn was grace. I had to learn to give myself a break. I had to learn flexibility. I had to learn how to have some healthy boundaries while enjoying life. I needed to let some fun into my intermittent fasting window.
Mm.
If my family was going out, I wasn't going to not eat because it wasn't in my window. I was going
Mhm.
to go ahead and enjoy and actually just have a lot more flexibility with when I ate and how I ate and all of that because I just really can be very, very robotic because I've had to have a long journey to lose weight. And so trying to get rid of the fear that I was living with and also understanding how important recovery is. Sometimes you're going to have a bad day. Sometimes you're going to feel really unhappy about the choices that you made. And I think you just call it what it is and say, I had a bad day. And tomorrow I'm going to get back on. Because so often when you have a bad day, it can lead to a month of bad days way too easily. And again, it goes back to how you talk to yourself. So if you have a bad day, call it what it is and move on. So being able to recover, walking more, I had to add in, I've told you guys about my gratitude walk in the morning and how crucial that is. I'm understanding now how important kind of an evening walk also is, especially if I have not been able to get out through the day. But having an evening walk, my self control level is pretty low at night. Anxiety tends to kind of settle in at night, more fears kind of assault my head at night. And so I have been practicing just, popping my a podcast in of a favorite preacher or maybe praise music. Like I actually need help. I need help focusing my mind and back onto the Lord at the end of the day because the battle's hard every day. I'll wake up in the morning and I'll feel like, okay, Lord, like we have battled together. I feel like you've got this. Like I'm not afraid. You're going to fight every battle that comes at me. And by night, I'm tired. I'm weary, and I need to be able to give that back over to the Lord. And so, understanding that I'm weak at night and going for that walk, ending my day with Him, has really been a help. And now something I've had to change just in the past little bit is I can't really do a lot of plyometric work. Plyometric is jumping. So jumping is really healthy. But sometimes my body tells me not to because of my back.
Mm.
And so understanding that I can have a really great workout without jumping. And so that's something that I've had to modify. Being the modification as a teacher is really humbling because I wanted to be the the hardest level. I want to teach the hardest level. I want to do the hardest level.
Mhm.
So again, having grace with myself and teaching the modification and telling them they can jump and being
Mhm.
okay with not. It's been hard,
Mhm.
but that's just been a lesson that I've had to learn.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I know that I injured myself. I mean, the girls, I think, were in, like, 3rd grade. This was a long time ago, but still it affects the way I move. I was walking along. We had, like, this berm in our old neighborhood where you kinda, like, walked over grass and a little downhill to get to the next neighborhood, and I would do that all the time. Well, I was walking, 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 and one of my feet went into a hole, and I just fell, and I hurt my ankle so bad. It was months. This was, like, it was probably, like, 4 months, and I remember going on spring break and thinking and having to wear shoes and not, like, any sandals or flip-flops because my ankle still would hurt so bad, and I'd look at people walking normally, I'd be like, "Oh, am I ever gonna get there again?" I mean, I bet it was 9 months before I could start to move my ankle the way I used to, and I think my body really remembers that. Like, Steve will make fun of me because I think I'm jumping on the pickleball court to get a ball, but he's like, "Your feet barely left the pavement." I think it's because I physically cannot make myself be off the air anymore because my body remembers that feeling of just, like, falling and, like, your leg just plunging down into nothingness, and then it just hurt. 9 months later, I was still trying to recover from it. So I
I
wonder if your
know.
body remembers, different things and, like, you might not jump ever the same way again, Mindy, because you remember your back pain
Mm,
and, like,
Yeah.
you just can't
yeah,
make yourself do it.
right.
After my fall in October, I have yet to go hiking again. And you know how much I hike.
Yeah.
And it's like
Mhm.
my Sunday school class said, "When are we gonna hike again? Plan something." And I thought, this is ridiculous. I'm gonna hike again. But I think I've just been a little like, maybe I should just give that up, because it
Mhm.
came out of nowhere. I wasn't even walking. I just slipped on a wet rock, but I still have flashbacks of that fall,
Yeah.
like of
Right.
it happening over and over again in my mind, and I think, "Oh, like
Mm,
how much worse it could have been," and,
Mhm.
and weeks after that, I thought, "Will I ever be back to normal?" Like, it is a very,
mm,
Yeah.
very scary thing, so I'm much more intentional where I put my feet and
Mhm.
right.
holding on to handrails. I feel really old, but it's like, I don't want that to happen again?
Mhm.
Yeah.
'Cause, like, we wanna live and we don't wanna be afraid all the time, and at the same time, trying to be intentional and not afraid.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's a balance, but we remember pain. Pain is
Mhm.
a
yeah.
great teacher. I could pretty much guarantee every person listening to us right now has had a moment of pain that has taught them something,
Right.
Mhm.
and so but I think that, not living in fear, like, really, really not living in fear and figuring out what you can do, and then being proud of yourself for what you can do now,
Mhm.
and not
Mhm.
talking bad about yourself for what you can't do now.
One other thing that, what in the book that I have read, she talked about, like food is important but it's not the only thing important to your metabolic health, like, not to get fixated on that and ignore everything else. And she talked about sleep, sleeping 8 to 9 hours a night, less screen time at night. She said, think about like maybe our great grandparents. When it got dark, they went to bed. They didn't stay up eating till midnight. You know what I mean? And when they got up in the morning, they saw the sun. And she just talks about kind of just that whole circadian rhythm, like getting up, going outside in the morning into the sunlight, and then kind of shutting things down when it gets dark, like you're eating, like kind of that window
Mhm.
of eating, and then just less being outside. She said being outside should not be an optional thing. It is a good thing for you. And then just less time consuming fear inducing media. And I thought, yeah, I don't watch the news much anymore, but I do listen to a lot of podcasts and things. So I find that now on my walks, I don't have anything. I enjoy that so much more. So I'm just usually talking out loud to God
Mhm.
Me
or
too.
myself. I mean, people probably think there goes that crazy lady
The
talking to
crazy
herself.
lady, yeah.
But I find I can walk longer and the time passes more when I'm just doing that instead of always taking something in.
Mhm.
I find that is much more healthy mentally for me.
In addition to this podcast, where would you suggest that someone find their information on how to work out or how to be healthy?
I feel like I learn a lot talking to my friends, talking to people that I know and that I see their lifestyle and I see them doing what they can do.
Mhm.
And I learn a lot from them. And so I'll read books, I'll listen to podcasts. I follow a couple of different people on social media, but I learn the most from my friends and from other people, and also just how I personally feel because I'm just constantly tweaking things. I'm constantly listening, like, oh, that food didn't make me feel good. That exercise, felt great. I should try to incorporate that. But it is daily, all these decisions that I'm making. So I don't know. How about you
Mhm.
guys?
Well, I do enjoy that I work out with a trainer. I don't know that I would know. Like, I love that she watches every move I make and she'll say, "Don't, make sure you bend your back here, bend your knees here." She's always looking for proper form. And I feel like I'd be kinda lazy with that, and I'm also not mean enough to make myself push through the sweating phase. I'd
Mm.
probably quit before I started sweating. So, for me, that's what works, is having a bad guy to
You pay your bad guy. That's
I
good.
do. She goes, "That's why I get the big bucks." I was like, "I
That's
know." I
right.
mean, to
That's
me,
right.
that's the only way it works, so
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I like what you said, Mindy. If I know someone who is maybe a little ahead of me and is still active and healthy and doing things, and I would like to be in that kind of shape in the future, I try to look at what they do. If that's like someone I'm following on social media or someone I know in real life, I'm definitely not looking probably at the 20 something person telling me how to do 10 arm
Mhm.
exercises for toned arms by spring break. Like, that's not my body anymore, and it's not for me anymore, and so I'm trying to look more at what is for my age because I don't wanna injure myself, and if I'm doing things that are being done by people 30 years younger than me, well, they could probably put a lot more stress on their body and do things a lot differently. I need to be looking at I'm hoping to be able to do this long term, you know what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
Mhm.
it kinda leads us into the last question that you had, Mindy, which was kind of where do you see yourself in 10 to 20 years? What do you hope to be doing? What kind of lifestyle do you hope to be leading? I would say having moved to this neighborhood, one of the most inspiring things that you can see on active adult lifestyle is all the older people that are out there playing pickleball daily and all the activities that people are involved in. And I want to be active doing things, traveling, exercising, walking. I don't see them putting very many limits on themselves. And I don't want to have to put limits on myself either because I didn't stay in shape.
Yeah, I just hope that I'm still doing able to do the same things I am now, but I know at a slower pace, like, that I will have limits, like, that's just part of it, but, not giving up some area, you know what I mean? Like, still walking, still traveling, still a little adventurous, wanting to get out and try new things and do things.
Mhm. I wanna have a yes attitude. I wanna, be positive and joyful. And I pray I'm moving body. My
Mhm,
body is moving daily because, it was really hard to be down and not be able to walk. Walking's just one of my favorite things to be outside and walking and
Mhm.
talking with the Lord, and so, I pray that I'm able to continue to lead that lifestyle. Also, I'd have to say I'm very encouraged by our older generation that we're watching right now because they are so active, and we have all of these visuals of people that are doing what they can do. And so I would say two-thirds of my class that I teach is older than me. And several of those are in their 70s. And
wow.
they are modifying and they show up. They are consistent. And these are joyful people. And so I'd like to end with a picture of a woman that I passed on the walking trail on Saturday that taught me so much in such a short amount of time. And this is how I want to be. There is this old woman that has scoliosis terribly. She's in a C shape. Like her back is so hunched over, and this woman is probably in her 80s. And I see her outside. She has a house on the thread that I walk on all the time. She has a house right there. Well, the reason I see her is she's outside with a broom, sweeping very slowly. She's sweeping her sidewalk because she has a huge magnolia tree that drops junk all the time. But she's outside and she's sweeping. I happened to pass by her on Saturday and not trying to scare her, but I was passing by. I gave her some space and I said, "Good morning." And she turned around and she took her hand and she had to lift her jaw because she couldn't do it herself.
Mm.
She lifted her jaw with her hand and she had this beautiful beaming smile on her face. That picture taught me a world right there of her doing what she could do. That woman I know has the joy of the Lord. There is no person that's hunched over like that. She can barely move and she's sweeping up one leaf at a time and she's smiling. And that's how I want to be. I don't want to have scoliosis. This isn't the picture I'm trying to paint. Just I don't know what will happen with my body. None of us do.
Mhm.
Injuries happen. Accidents happen. And I think that no matter what happens, I want to have the joy of the Lord and I want to do what I can do. And so those are the people that I want to be in 10 to 20 years. And I hope that my back is hurting because I'm holding and rocking a grandchild, and we'll be talking about that.
True. That is a good kind of hurt.
Yeah.
All right. I enjoyed this discussion. Listeners, we would love to hear from you. We would love to hear how you stay in shape in midlife, ways you get your information, different things you've tried. Come and find us on Instagram, Midlife Matters Podcast, or email us at midlifematterspodcast@gmail.com. But before we go, we want to do I'm a Fan. All right, Julie, what are you a fan of this week?
All right. I'm a fan of a supplement. I'll make this applicable to our topic. I'm a fan of a supplement. I started taking collagen because it was recommended that my mom take some collagen because of her broken bone. And then my doctor said, well, you should probably take it too because of my broken tailbone. And they said it benefits you for a year up to, from a year from your broken bone. And then I started talking in my life group. All these women take collagen. One is a dietitian. And they recommended the Vital Proteins collagen peptides that Costco sells. And I did buy that, and I liked it because I bought the flavorless, and you just mix it in your coffee, and you really don't taste it. But it takes 4 tablespoons. That just feels like a
That's
huge
a
amount in
lot.
that small cup. And so when I went to my doctor for something else, she talked about a brand called Sparkle Wellness. So I'm on a subscription to that now. It's a lot more expensive, but they actually have, and the nutritionist and my doctor both verified this, that they actually have real medical studies now that link collagen to increased bone density and healing.
Really?
So, because as a pharmacist, I am just not big on supplements because they're not FDA regulated as far as safety, and like the FDA doesn't have to approve them. They only regulate them once they hit the market. So they're not regulated like drugs. And I just always wondered what's in these things. Where is it coming from? Is it even an adequate dose? But these actually have studies like on the website linking with them. So I felt really good about that finally because I bought collagen in the past and then couldn't even put it in my coffee because I was afraid. Like, what am I drinking?
Right.
Yeah.
So, so the one thing I like about the Sparkle Wellness is that it's 1 tablespoon. So it's much more concentrated and you don't have to, it all mixes in really easily. I just have a problem putting the 4 tablespoons versus the 1. So,
Right.
If you're not a coffee drinker, what else could you put it in that would
you could just
disguise
put it in hot water or tea, but I think you could even put it in cold things. I just haven't done that because it's just easy to get it in my coffee.
Okay, well, yeah, let's put a link to that because I've always been kind of skeptical of stuff like that, but I always kind of look to you if you're not skeptical about it.
I know.
I'm like, well, if Julie's not skeptical about it, then I guess I could try it.
Well, like there's so many collagen supplements out there, and a lot of them, if they're not hydrolyzed, if they're not wear it in a form your body can take, you're just wasting your money.
Okay.
And then, like, I had bought some capsules because I thought, "Oh, I don't wanna put this in my coffee, I just wanna swallow it." Well, that's just a micro dose. There's not enough in that capsule.
Oh,
It
yeah.
it is a big dose. You need, like, 10 to 15 grams a day.
Okay.
Um, so
Yeah.
I did feel really good about this, so
Okay. All
Oh,
right. Well, that's a
thank you,
ringing
Julie.
endorsement for me.
yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right, Mindy, what are you a fan of this week?
I am a fan of a little hack that I learned that literally changed my life. And I learned about it last week and it worked beautifully. Okay. So in perimenopause, I was dealing with itchy ears. This has hit my life, Marie. The itchy ear thing. And it doesn't affect
No,
everybody,
it doesn't.
but if it affects you, you know it because it
Mhm.
is so annoying. Well, literally, my ears were so itchy, and it's like it's hard to describe. So, if this is for you, listen up. This might help. I happened to see on this site that I follow for like perimenopause, menopause women, this hack where you spray Flonase on a Q-tip and you put the Flonase in your ear.
Oh,
It stopped the itching immediately. Now
interesting.
I have not dealt with itchy ears for like 2 weeks now, and let me tell you, it is completely gone, like,
That's
completely.
interesting.
So, I don't know what it is about
Well, that's a
putting that
steroid.
antihistamine or, like, putting that,
It's a
in your
steroid,
ear.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It completely changed.
Oh, that's
I do not
amazing.
struggle with this, and it was immediate. It wasn't anything that had to build up. I already use Flonase for allergies, and so, I am so thankful for this little hack. So
That's
I felt like I
interesting.
was gonna lose my mind
Awesome.
sometimes, how itchy my ears were.
Mine have never been to the point where I would even research how to get rid of it. Like, it was an annoyance, but it wouldn't go on for, like, a long time. It just
Right.
was an annoyance, and I recognized it in a list of symptoms that we were talking about.
Yeah.
But yours must have been really bad for you to start Googling, like,
Well,
"How
I
can I get
actually
rid of
didn't even
this?"
research it. I didn't realize how much it bothered me until it was gone.
Oh, okay,
And so
okay.
I just happened upon this
Oh,
information
interesting.
as I was, like, doom scrolling on my phone. I was like, "Wait a minute.
This could help
This
me.
is a hack for itchy ears. Oh, I have
Yeah.
Flonase. Oh, I'm gonna try that." And then it was gone. I was like, "Oh, I had no idea."
Oh, that's great. All right, this week I'm a fan of a swimsuit. The reason I'm a fan of it was I thought it was cute when I ordered it, but then I became a fan of it when I got a compliment from my daughter. So, as we
Ooh,
talked about
oh.
earlier in the podcast, if your daughter compliments something, you're like, oh, maybe I should re-give this a different look. So, anyways, I ordered this blue and white striped tankini. It's like got a little skirt. I sent it to you guys so you could know what I'm talking about. And it has like little ruffles, which, around the neckline. And I don't know. I just thought it looked, well, that looks like it would be cute. And it wasn't super expensive. So I just ordered it. And I wore it to the pool the other night. And my daughter goes, that's a cute swimsuit, Mom. And I don't get that all the time. So I was like, mark that down. We need to share that as I'm a fan. If someone else is looking
Wow.
for a swimsuit, they might also want to do this one. So
I have
It's
that
so
suit,
you have
but
that
mine
suit, Julie?
I had it yeah, like 2 years ago, but mine's just blue with a white piping. It looks
Oh,
like
okay.
denim, like it's a chambray
Okay.
looking fabric, but yeah, it's the
Okay.
same.
Oh, interesting. That is
Now, will
too
it make my
funny.
chest look like that?
I think so. I thought it was cute. Yeah.
She has no gravity taking place in the picture.
It does have a little bit of a lift to it.
Okay.
It is the Zayful women's tankini swimsuit, V-neck ruffles, full coverage bathing suit, swim tank top with skirt. So I will put a link to that in the show notes. It was $41, but it's
Oh
for
my
both pieces
gosh.
together. And
That's a great price.
yeah, I thought it was
Yes.
cute, and it was complimented by the younger generation. So
Oh my,
take that
that is
as you
so
may.
adorable. Thank you for sharing.
All right, Julie, Mindy, I enjoyed talking about this, and we will talk with you next week.
All right.
Sounds great. Bye,
Bye.
girls.
Talk to you later. Bye.
We're so happy you joined us today. You can find the show notes for this episode at midlifematterspodcast.com. Also, please tell a friend about the show and help them hit the free subscribe button on their favorite podcast app. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Midlife Matters Podcast. That's where we post pictures and stories about all the things we talk about in each episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.